kombucha, kombucha, kombucha. Making your own kombucha at home is so easy, and I'm going to prove that to you today. So let's start. We already have our scoby. As you know from the last video, we grew our own scoby, and here it is. We have the tea that fermented and our scoby. Now, whenever you make a batch of kombucha, you're going to want to keep about a pint, which is 2 cups of the tea from the old batch. So don't throw it all out. I take the scoby that grew new and I put it in my scoby hotel, and now I have this much left, about 1 pint with my new scoby that I grew in there. It's so easy, you guys. It starts by making your tea. I already got this going because you didn't need to see me do that, but I just added 8 cups of boiling water to here, and I put in 6 tea bags. So I've got 8 cups of water in here because by the time I add that, it's to here, and I can't pour this in here until it's room temperature because anything hot would kill that scoby. Remember, that's a live culture. So we're gonna get this sugar in here. If you're making a gallon, then you want 1 cup. 1 gallon, 1 cup. So it's always a 1-to-1 ratio. If you're making a half a gallon, it would be a half a cup. So always remember that. So I'm gonna get this into the tea because I don't wanna wait too long and then it won't melt. I'm always looking for the shortcut. So what I do is I make this much hot tea, add my sugar in tea bags, and then I add it to here. And when the sugar's all dissolved and everything has sat and brewed long enough, some people say 5 to 10 minutes, other people just say leave it in there until it's cooled. But what I do is when it's at least 20 minutes brewed, I pour it in here, and then I just add cold water to get the right amount. That's looking pretty good. The sugar's melted. So now I'm going to pour this into this bowl because it's a bigger container and I need some room for my cold water. So I have my cold water from the fridge. I'm going to put it in here. I think I'm going to need about 5 cups, 4 or 5 cups. So I'm going to pour that in here. That's 4 cups, so we're going to start with that. And as long as the sugar is melted and the tea bags have been brewing for at least 20 minutes, you're good. You can remove the tea bags or leave them. I'm just going to leave them for now. And these little gadgets are nifty because you just open it up, they turn on, and they tell you instantly the temperature. So 103, still too hot. I think I'm going to fish out those tea bags now. Okay, let's check it. That's perfect. It's about 83, so we're good. I'm going to pour this in, and whatever's left over, I'm going to put into my scoby hotel because, as you can see, I need to feed my scoby here. This is the fermented tea that's very vinegar-like, and it needs to have sweet tea so that that scoby can live. So let's take this off, and we're going to pour first into the one we're making our kombucha. So let's cover them up because they need to stay where they can get some breathable air, but no bugs. So I cover it with a cloth and a rubber band. We're going to cover up the scoby hotel and set that aside. And there is just one little detail that maybe I didn't mention when I was making the tea is that I'm using distilled water. I know you're going to read online, a lot of people say to use the water from the tap. Don't ever use tap water, but spring water that has minerals in it because it helps it ferment. I've used totally distilled water with nothing in it. I grew my own SCOBY fine. 14 days, it was nice and thick. I fermented my tea. I don't believe that, and I'm not going to be drinking the calcium in all those bottles of spring water when I'm drinking kombucha. I want it to be as healthy as when I'm drinking pure water with none of the stuff that's in those bottles of water, like inorganic minerals that your body doesn't like, and even nanoplastics. No thank you. So if you have the opportunity, make it with distilled and make it that much healthier. So it's been a little cooler here in LA, and it's taken about 7 days to get the tea to taste where I like it. You can see that the new SCOBY has formed on top, and if you look, you'll see the old SCOBY that was on the bottom start floating up. That's very typical, but it's still important to go by taste because some people like it much more close to vinegar and other people don't like it like that at all. So after about 5 days, even 4 days, you can give it a taste, but it's somewhere between 5 and 10 days, really depending on your temperature. My house is generally around 72. It was probably a little bit cooler, so it took a couple extra days this time. And the other thing to notice is that the tea is much lighter. Do you see that? From when we put it in, it was much darker. So it's ready to go. And I want to share a little tip with you. If you don't want a SCOBY hotel like this because you're only planning on keeping 1 or 2 SCOBYs, you literally can do it in a container like this. And I'll show you how I do it. You just would take the SCOBY out here, and we're going to take this other SCOBY. Can you see how it's floated to the top? And we're going to put that in here. And now we need to cover this with 2 cups of tea. So there we go. You can see I have my 2 SCOBYs in here and 2 cups of tea. So this just gets stored in your fridge. And if you are planning to have a SCOBY hotel like I do, then you would just take your SCOBYs out of your fermented tea that's ready and drop it in your SCOBY hotel and just add some of your freshly made sweetened tea to feed it, because this tea is going to get very vinegar-like, so I just keep feeding it with fresh tea. If I get too much, I just dump it out with a couple of the SCOBYs that I cut up and put it in my garden, because it really helps our tomato plants and all our veggies grow much better. So that's why I like having a SCOBY hotel, because it gives me a chance to have more SCOBYs for the garden and more tea to make kind of like a compost tea for the garden. But if you don't want that hassle, this way's really easy. So there you have it, you guys. Now we have our kombucha tea already fermented, tasting delicious just as it is. But that's not the end of it for me, because now is the best part, and that's the flavoring it. And I'm saving that for another video next week. So come back next week to watch that one. And I just want to say thank you to all of you guys who are subscribing. I so appreciate it. And if you've never made your own kombucha, you gotta try it. It's so delicious. But wait till next week's video when you get to see the final result, and then you'll really have to try it. All right, I hope this was clear and you try it yourself. See you next time.